Hi everyone, welcome to today's Enghouse webinar, the second in our roadmap webinar series. Thanks for coming, we really appreciate your time. My name's Barbara Stewart, I'm on the marketing team here at Enghouse and I'll be facilitating today's webinar. Our webinar will be recorded and a link to this will be sent out following the event. We'll have time at the end of the webinar for questions and we'd love to hear from you. So if you think of anything to ask Pete and Patrick, please drop it into the GoToWebinar question pane on the right. So let me introduce our speakers for today. First, we're very pleased to welcome Patrick Gallagher, Managing Director of Creative Virtual APAC. Patrick, who manages key operational teams in Australia, Singapore and Hong Kong, has worked for over 30 years on innovating and developing excellent customer experience outcomes. Patrick has assisted clients across multiple industry sectors on multiple platforms, including both voice and digital initiatives. He's passionate about sharing the power of AI and automation with the organisations he works with to transform their businesses, and I know you'll find his insights today inspiring. Patrick also asked us to talk about let the Asian region attendees know that he will be with Enghouse in Singapore for a week from the 30th of October. So any partners or customers who'd like a deep dive follow-up to this session, please get in touch. Our contact email address is on the screen now. And in the meantime, thank you, Patrick, for sharing your time and knowledge with us today. Peter Fadab likewise has a long pedigree in the customer service industry. He's worked for Enghouse in a number of related roles before we were fortunate enough to capture him for our team here in APAC. He's worked in telecommunications and contact centre for over 20 years, and as many of our own customers have found to their benefit, he just loves to help users improve their service delivery in every way he can. Today, he's going to give us the benefit of his experience in doing just that. So now I'll invite Patrick to talk about Creative Virtual very briefly.
Thank you very much, Barbara. For those that don't know me, hi, I'm Patrick Gallagher from Creative Virtual based in Sydney. And Barb, thank you very much for that wonderful introduction. I think it gets bigger and more embellished every time you do it. So thank you very much for that. For those that don't know, I've known Barbara for many, many years. So I'm sure that she embellishes that a little bit for me. So just quickly, Creative Virtual, we are a global conversational AI business where the technology behind many of the global key virtual agents, we've been doing this for over 20 years. But the main thing is that we have a really strong connection to Enghouse contact centers that we'll be showing today, and we have a local team. So it's about helping our customers and partners locally here with connections to the Enghouse platform. So thank you very much, Barb. I'll pass it back.
Thank you. No embellishment, Patrick. And just a quick note on Enghouse as an introduction. We're a global contact centre solutions provider with developers and support based right here in ANZ. Our locally based team of passionate contact centre solutions experts pride themselves on helping our customers meet their customer experience goals. Since we developed some of our own solutions here, we're particularly proud that our customer experience suite is the industry's most comprehensive offering around today, which means, of course, a great choice of CX tools for our customers and helping them find the right fit for their organisation, whether in the cloud, on-prem, or a mix of both. Today, we're talking about enrichment of our Enghouse Contact Centre Webchat channel with specialist skills from our partner, Creative Virtual. And before we move into that, let's just take a quick look at the research. As you can see, NTT Data's latest 2023 Global Customer Experience Report shows a continuing upward trend for web chat and chatbot adoption and also self-service from 2021 through to today. This is across nearly all demographics. So contrary to common assumptions, we clearly see that this does include older generations as well as the younger digital natives. And now I'll call on Pete to start the ball rolling with some definitions of the web chat and chatbot tools. Thanks, Pete.
Thank you, Barb, and thank you for everybody joining today. So we're just going to give a high level, just in case you haven't come across these technologies before, of really what is web chat. It's basically a text-based interaction, and you're handling that in real time. So we've all perhaps we use things on social media, things like WhatsApp or Facebook chat to chat with friends, but really you're doing that in real time communication with an agent for business. So typically it's access from your website or a mobile application, and you're really putting within your website a sort of click here to have a chat through to the agent. But the main sort of focus around web chat as a definition is typically being used where the customer is talking to a human. And if we roll into the next slide there, Barb, for me. What we're really looking at for your customers is why will customers really use that? So the not willing or not able to use voice. So if you think of some scenarios that might happen, if I was to have a financial inquiry, perhaps it's not favorable for me, I might be in a bit of debt or have a bit of an embarrassment call there. Having a human voice-to-voice call could be a little bit outside my comfort zone. So if I had the option to use something like chat and discuss something a little bit sort of that I find sensitive or embarrassing, I could use chat at that point in time to do it. I can elect to use a different media. So we're not talking about changing the context of the dialogue between the agent, whether it was voice or chat. It's just using a different technology where it could be a little less informal and sometimes a little bit less sort of pressurized for a customer coming in. There is a big demographic there, as we saw, the underage of the under 40 groups are the big users of that, especially the under 25 there. But as Barb did point out, the older generation, which a lot of the people that gather these statistics have said over the years, oh, it's going to be slow to move. Actually, that generation are moving up all the time. Everybody does get older. So the more the years have rolled on, that generation is getting more used to using technology. So we will see that by the time we roll forward another 10 years, that 40 age group will be a 50 age group. So they're moving up that bracket, and still that's why we're seeing that expansion at the bottom of there as well. We're looking for people that need a prompt response. So your customers want a fast, quick response. I've got a question. I don't really want to phone in and wait in a queue. I can type something in the text and I can get on with something else. So I can multitask. And if you give me some information, it's available in my browser. I can relook at that information. There's often options to download that information as well. So it's ease of access as well of information. With your business, you're seeing that you'll satisfy your customer with choice with faster responses. You get a better sort of customer satisfaction rather than them waiting in voice queues that agents can do. You're going to save costs really in the business around handling time, especially when you start to use things like templated response. If you're getting the same questions over and over again via text, it's easy to insert those responses directly back or give web links to where you may have online information. Rather than me have to talk you through that whole process, I can send it back to you, you can read, and that might satisfy the whole requirement. So we often see handling times for those inquiries dropped. So that's really what we're looking at more from the web chat scenario. But if we roll forward to the bot one there for me, Barb, what is a chatbot? Well, a lot of people talk about AI, and whenever I ask somebody what their definition of AI is, everybody talks about different things. But AI is really where you're getting the computer to do things, and this is really where we're going to get the computer program to start responding to customer inquiries. Technology is in a place where you can ask a question, the computers can understand what that question is using the context, and usually give you the correct answers or suggestive answers to where you may want to go. They can also do things like take you down simple flows, so perhaps it's an enrollment process or a change of an update of my details. It's those sort of simple things that might be noise to the agents within the contact centers that we can use for more complex things. So it's all about realistically trying to get the machines to do some of those easier tasks for us and sometimes more complex tasks, but we normally start with taking the noise away from the contact center. So if we can roll through to the next definition for me, Bart. So if we have a look at the customer side within there, there's very little difference there. There's one key difference. It's all about people not wanting to phone in, the younger generation expecting that. But the one key difference is chatbots are computers, and they run 24/7, 365 days a year, normally. Obviously, with technology, you get the odd sick day with a virtual employee. But in general, that technology is available at everybody's fingertips. If you think of your human sort of workforce that are there, most people are working 9 to 5, you may have longer hours, but in general, it's hard to do that as a 24/7 operation. Whereas having that information available 24/7 means that you may get some questions answered in the evening that don't come into the contact center the following day. So what's this actually going to do for your business? Well, again, it's the same. It's going to satisfy your customers. They're going to get the responses they want them at the time that they want them. You're also going to, improve all of those FAQ responses, getting consistent information sent out, same way as we were using templates before. And you're really going to start looking at reducing cost, as in taking away those more simple transactions. If your business is growing, labor is a very serious cost to the business. So by using the technology to take away some of that noise from the contact center, you can use your humans to do the more sort of in-depth and complex tasks that are there. As an agent within the contact center, if you're doing a lot of mundane sort of job roles, your job isn't very exciting. So you do find in those type of environments, there may be a loss of agent headcount, and you're getting a lot of attrition because of that. Whereas if you make people's jobs more interesting, a little bit more diverse, there's some complexity, I have to use my brain, the day passes a lot quicker for them. So we do find in those environments where we're challenging the agents with the inquiries that they're getting rather than them getting the simple noise, that actually improves their job and happiness and well-being as well. I think we're back to you at that point, Bob. So we're going to ask you guys just to do a poll today, and this is just really to find out where everybody is at. So one of the things that we want to know from everybody, just so we can get a sense of where our customers are at and what your interests are, so we can target for future webinars, and also give you a little bit of feedback on their expectations today. Are you a Webchat only customer currently? Are you just using Webchat? Are you using just a chatbot and have no way of bringing humans into that conversation? Or do you use Webchat and chatbot, but they're not brought together as an interaction? So I can't go into the bot and then be passed through to a human. Do you have the ability, which is what we're going to be covering today because we don't believe it's a versus, have the ability to have a chatbot and escalate it into a live agent? See if you're into that sort of section 4 as well. Or if you're not using any chat tools at all, then that'll just be option 5. So Tony, if you could get that poll running for us, and I'll...
Thanks, everyone. If I could get the Enghouse and partner people, please, just to hold back on this so that we don't skew the data. That would be really interesting. And as Pete said, spoiler alert, we're going to be asking Pat to talk about the integrated solution of both these. Okay, I think we've seemed to be slowing down on the inputs. Thank you. If you could share the results. Okay, so now we're, sorry?
Sorry, Bob.
Okay, so we've got 30% who are just using Webchat, which is pretty much what we would have expected. And of course, given the topic of the webinar, 60% who are still looking at what they may do perhaps in the future. 10% are using a chatbot only, and of course, Pat will be discussing that a bit more. So Patrick and Pete, did you have any comments on this?
It is one of the things that a lot of people did adopt, things like chatbots, and that's why I was seeing that being the web chat, and that's why I was seeing that a little bit higher. And I think when we're starting to sort of bring technology over the top of that, then I think people don't really know how to start with that at that point in time, or why they would use either or, and we can see quite a lot of the people joining aren't actually doing the both options, which is what Pat's about to cover through, because that's where we believe you should be. So realistically, if you're using Webchat today, consider what Pat's about to show you and say, could I start overlaying their bot on top? And if you're using chat today, have a look and see whether or not you think it's worth integrating the two together, and have a look through those use cases and experiences Pat's given you today.
Okay, so Patrick, I'll call on you, and if you've got any commentary on that poll as well, please feel free. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And yeah, I think Pete was spot on. I think that when I talk to many of our customers, they're not sure where to start, and they do ask me, should I go web chat first or go chatbot first? And I think the answer is that every business has a different start point, but the end point, I think, is where you want to get to is really sort of the key thing to look at. So I might, if I can, share my screen. Thank you. Let me just, so I'll just check, Barb, are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Fantastic, thank you. So the webinar
we're not seeing your screen, still seeing my screen. Sorry, Patrick.
Are we?
Okay. Better together, chatbot and web chat. Is that what you got?
Yep, that's my screen.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
Thank you. So we started off the webinar by saying, is it web chat or chatbot? I think what we want to say is that there's a lot of benefit for having the two together. And like the poll showed, where you start your journey, whether it is with web chat, offering live chat, or offering chatbot, doesn't really matter where you start, but bringing them together adds value. And so if we look at where your customers may start, for example, they could start directly with chat, or they could go to self-service, but either through some sort of a self-service on your website or keyword search. Either way, if your customers will be wanting to do self-service activities. We see it right across the board, particularly as we were looking at the NTT poll, starting with the younger generation, but it's right across the board, all the demographics. People are looking to do more self-service. They want that. And the reasons why they want that is because self-service in the chatbot, we can offer 24/7 support. The businesses like it because we can reduce costs in the number of contact center agents, the time you've got to keep contact center agents, and we can take a lot of that mundane tasks away. Exactly like Pete was saying, it really helps the business and it helps the customers. But we want the contact center still in there because there are some escalations where customers do try to self-serve, whether it's through the website, keyword, FAQs, coming back through the chatbot, continue that self-serve journey, and then connecting to a live agent. The live agent is there because it gives them that extra customer service, so they're not sort of trapped in a self-service jail and then have to pick up a phone and make a call. If you can escalate them from that self-service into the live agent, you're really helping them on that encouraging that self-service journey and saving money for your business. The last little thing I'll just mention here is that even though the bot hands off to the live agent, the bot hasn't gone away. The bot's still there helping your agent. And we're going to show that a little bit today as we go through it. So I want to show you how that journey might work. So let me show you how we can combine the web chat and the chatbot together. So excuse me just while I bring up a couple of things on my screen here. I'm going to launch a little demo bot here that is for Enghouse, and you can see a little bot here on the left-hand side. I'm also going to bring up Touchpoint, and I hope many of you on this call are probably familiar with Touchpoint. Touchpoint is the the agent interface for the contact centers from Enghouse. It's a very nice interface. Your agents have access to queues, all sorts of information here. But what I want to do is I want to show you an escalation. And so you can see both sides, what your customers might see and also what your agents see. So let me just start this little journey here. I'm the customer on the left-hand side, and I'm saying hello to your business chatbot. I might say, for example, this is a little bot that helps us with travel arrangements. So I might tell the bot, I want to, well, actually, I would like to book a holiday. Keep it very straightforward. I'd like to book a holiday. The bot helps me out. Which destination you're interested in? USA. I'm interested in the USA. Would I like some travel insurance? Yes, I'd like some travel insurance. Oh, it gives me some options here that I could look at. Very nice. But at the bottom, would you like to chat to one of our live agents? And this is where I want to get to, just to show you the two sides of the coin. So I'll say, yes, please, I'd like to escalate. And then it says, can I have your full name? So I'll just say Pat Gallagher. And now what will happen is that the bot will escalate me from a chat with the automated system to a chat with a human. And so you think of that handoff. So your customers aren't stuck in the self-service if they're not able to get the answers they want. We can escalate them. And so here on the right-hand side, I can see a chat coming in from Pat Gallagher. I'll accept that. And as an agent, I can see the conversation history. I can see that Pat Gallagher was looking at USA. He wanted insurance, and he's coming to an agent. So I can say, I can help you with your USA holiday. And we see that we see that this reduces average handle time significantly because the agent has all the context of the conversation already inside their system. They can immediately just carry on and take over that conversation. In this case, say your customer wants to know which credit cards do you, might say, for example, what credit cards let me just have a look here. I'm just trying to check that we've got the right credit cards here. We've got some generative stuff here. What credit cards? And so, oops, you can you can see here that, and in fact, the bot. In this case, I can see that I made a bit of mistake, but the question comes through here to the agent, and then the bot here is also responding to the answer. But in this case, the bot's not understood the question, so it's not giving the agent an answer, but the bot is still there supporting. And I'm just trying to, it's great always doing live demos. I'm not sure why it's not asking me, it's not telling me which credit cards I support, but the bot would normally come up with a support there and telling me as an agent what I've got. So the key thing is that the bot is still there. It hasn't gone away. It's helping your agent. In this case, let me come back and I'm just going to have a look at that again in a minute because I do have a limited amount of time. I want to move on because I'm showing you a little bit of a conversation between the bot and the agent, but let me come back to that in a minute. I'm just going to, as an agent, I'm just going to complete that conversation and come out of there. And I want to show you a little bit of how we create these conversations so that you get an idea of what we can do. And if I go into our designer where we can create these conversations, and I will come back to that in a minute. If I log in here and you can see how we create these conversations. So when you build your bot, this is the interface that you would get to build the bot. We've got a very nice little, I guess, an opening screen that we can go into. I can go in here, I can work with certain content. So sometimes you want to have structured content, and that's what I was showing you before. The answers the bot was giving were predefined structured content, and in our system you can have these structured content. This is really important because with the bot you can create answers that are accurate, consistent, and reproducible. And sometimes as a government organization or as a bank or a retail organization, you want to give your bot a series of answers. And this is where we can go in and we can create those structured answers. Sometimes we want to also create a flow or a structured process. It's almost like giving the bot a script and saying, I want you to follow this script. So in this particular script for a bank, if there's a replacement card needed, we can start here and the bot will ask, have you lost your card, or do you just want to set a temporary block? And then it will follow through this structured process. Now, these structured processes are great. It's like you give your contact center agent a script. It gives the bot the script, and that way it follows it very precisely. And so one of the things that people like our bot for is because it creates accurate, consistent, reproducible conversations. And that's what we do, is accurate, consistent, reproducible conversations. But one of the things that we're seeing here is, and I'm just going to sort of come back to this slide, is what's coming up next. Well, everybody talks about artificial intelligence, AI, and how do you blend the structured content with the AI? Now, we know that artificial intelligence is really changing the way people work, and you can see here that this source from Salesforce. Mobiles took 16 years to get to 100 million users. The web, 7 years to get to 100 million users. AI, specifically, I guess, ChatGPT, took 2 months to get to 100 million users. AI, conversational AI, is really big. A lot of people are interested. So how do we use this AI in the bot? You've seen me create structured answers. You've seen me create flows where we can create processes in the bot. And sometimes that's exactly what you need. But sometimes you also want to do AI-based conversation. So let me just show you. I'm going to come back here and show you how we do the AI conversation. So you've seen structured content. That's great when you need to have answers just the way you want them. We have flows where you've got to set up processes and procedures. And so that's all structured content. But now let's look at the unstructured content. So this is how our bot might ingest information. And then we can provide answers based on that using generative. So our system, just so you can see here, we support a number of the large language models, GPT-3.5, we do a number of the different large language models. But if I come back here and I go to documents, I'm going to start by, and I just selected this at random. I'm not sure whether Wellington Council is here with us today or not, but let me just take one of their web pages. I'm just going to copy that. I'm going to go back to Gluon, our platform, and I'm going to tell our bot to scrape. In fact, what it's doing is ingesting that information from that website. I could have chosen any website. And normally when we work with a customer, what we do is we collect PDF files, we collect spreadsheets, we collect and their website, but we ingest that into the system. And so let me just open up a little test bot. Now that we've just ingested that information, a little bit of information about Greater Wellington, getting around the region. So let's test now that we've ingested some of that, how the AI works. So I could ask, for example, how can I get around Wellington? So if I just ask a question, remember that we've got no structured content on this. This is purely the AI has ingested that information and now giving us what's called generative answers. And you can see here, to get around Wellington, you have several options of transport. So the system is creating an answer that is generated from the context. Now, this is really important. It generates it from the context. And in our little test environment, it actually even gives us the context, what it's using when it generates that information. So there's citations here, which is really important when you're using generative. You need to know that the system is using your context and creating answers from your information and not just using general information, because it very quickly will create what's called hallucinations, and our system prevents that. So if I go in here, I can see the actual text it was using and where it got it from. So there's citations here. I could even ask a follow-up question, like, for example, tell me, I noticed in there was a little bit about rideshare. So tell me about carpooling. So let me just, I'll even ask it differently. I'll ask about carpooling rather than rideshare. And the system, there we go. Carpooling is a sustainable transportation option where people share temporary seats. Very nice. I could even say, for example, where can I get, let's say, a bus timetable? Where can I get a bus timetable? And the system, again, from that page that's ingested, to get bus timetables in Wellington, you can visit Metlink website. They manage public there you go, very nice site. So what I wanted to show you is that when you're working with a platform like ours, not only can you use structured content, because sometimes you want to give answers that you have already pre-approved. The way they're written, the way they're formatted is really important. That's the structured content. You sometimes want to have flows where you can create processes, and the system will follow those processes. And sometimes you want to create generative answers where you can ingest information and answer based on the information you've ingested. And so what we want to do is work with you to show how we can bring all those three elements into particular conversations. I did say that I'd quickly go back to this. If we did ingest a little bit of information about Enghouse into our bot here. And if I say, for example, why should I use a cloud contact center? You can see, and I know it's a bit confusing. Oops, we've timed out again. Sorry, we're having a little bit of time. Let me just redo this. But with the with our system, we can ingest information, and we can let me just come back here, the little demo bot. If I come into here, I can ask questions like, well, let me just check that the bot's reconnected. It disconnected while I was offline there. Why should I use a cloud contact center? And the bot here is able to generate a little bit of information regarding Enghouse. And I've actually said here that it's generated some project documentation. And just to sort of show you, if I take a question in another language and I ask that in another language, the generative side of the system now we can control this, but it can also use the generative side to generate answers. It's not translating, it's actually generating an answer in the language specified. And there you go, it's generating an answer in that. So this little prompt just telling me that it's generated it, and here's the answer, it's come in. Anyway, I'm going to hand back, because today was just to give you a little bit of a feel for what we do. There's so much more we can do, and what we'd like to do is perhaps run some workshops to help you understand how you can build the bots for your business in more detail. But let me hand back.
Thank you very much, Patrick. Thanks for those insights. And what I would like to do is call on both Patrick and Peter to talk to us about the next obvious question, which is putting it into practice. So first of all, Pete, can you tell us about how you would go about implementing web chat and what are the things that you need to know?
Yeah, sure, not a problem, Mark. So some of the considerations really for implementing, some of the things to start thinking about is really finding the right staff. And You know, people have different skills in the business. Some of them are going to be great on the phone, talking to customers, and very good sort of, building those relations verbally. But literacy and keyboard skills, maybe they're not the quickest on those. So maybe targeting sort of those text-based medias to people that have good literacy and good keyboard skills, rather than sort of, those people that are one-finger typists. Everyone can build up their skills in that area, become more, familiar with those skills. However, it's one of those, if you're starting to look around sort of your office now, you might find that there may be a few people within there skill a little bit in that area and maybe present most of the team with those to start with. Think about also increasing your interactions that the agents could handle. Web chat, you sort of, as you saw with Pat, you type, you get a response, you type, you get a response, but that takes a few seconds to do. And sometimes if there's a lot of typing, there might be gaps within that agent's time. Sometimes we get people and you sort of normally start with a 1-to-1 ratio, but what we tend to do is start saying, well, try doing 2 at once. So try and start on that 1-to-1 to get your agents accustomed with it, but try and build up that speed. It doesn't have to be when you're giving them multiple chats within there. You can allow them to handle more than one channel. Can I be on a voice conversation and being on the chat? Sometimes that's a bit distraction, but I could work on an email while I'm waiting for that chat response. So can I switch between those medias? That's where you're going to get those gains around in the contact center and get really more work done and more output from your agent time. We do find that, everyone's always worried about what are the inquiries that come in on web chat? What are people going to ask me? And I say, well, what do they ask you by the phone? And having sort of done many transitions with customers over the year, the questions that come in are generally the same. Same type of FAQ type questions that you're getting via the phone, same type of questions will come in via web chat. There's very little that will come in that will be different. Everyone says, well, how much extra traffic is that going to do? Well, actually, the expectation of additional traffic is probably about 5%. So you're going to get people that are hitting your website, they might have a question, but they really can't be bothered to phone. However, some of those people, when they see the web chat option, will go, actually, I'll use the web chat and ask the question. So you're going to get, rather than people picking up the phone, those few extra people that are actually going to say, oh, there's a quick question, there's a chat option, I can use that, it's quick and easy. So what you're really going to see more in there is more of a channel shift. So you're going to see about 20% dropping out of other medias that you're handling, which could be voice, it could be email. Is people will tend to sort of, if you're going to phone somewhere, most of us will go to the website to get the phone number. So therefore, if I'm there and there's an option for me to actually self-serve or to contact an agent without making a phone call, then I might be choosing that option instead. And we see about 20% uptake on that in general is the expectation. I have seen some customers where that has been very low to start with, and they said, well, no one's using it. And I said, well, how much have you promoted it? And they needed to market out to their customer base to say, this is a now an available option, come and use it, come and try it. And then they started to get that uptake as well. So think about sort of as you're putting it in, everyone's worried is the service there, but once it's been in and running for a little bit, if you want to push that uptake, get some marketing around it to say, well, this is a new feature that we brought in to help serve you as customers. As we've seen through that, the predefined template responses will save time. Having those answers to hand that the agent can do saves a lot of that typing. It also cures some of that first point around literacy skills as well. So that really helps you in getting accurate information. So rather than getting everybody typing their own different responses, you're getting that consistent information going out to every customer. If I ask the question or Barb asks the question, we're both going to get that same answer in the same way. Also, it's very good to wrap up codes to your chat queues as well, giving you the ability to categorize what type of inquiries are coming down by chat. Now, I've said a lot of the time it'll be the simple questions that people want to do, but you might want to verify what your user groups are actually asking. Therefore, if you're looking to see, if you put a bot in the front, if you're getting what's getting through to your agents, well, what is the bot not handling that the agents are? Again, can I take any of those activities out and maybe furnish those questions up into the bot, into that higher level to get the AI to take care of that type of noise that's coming in, and again, reduce the traffic that's coming to those expensive employees. So I think we're going to go to Pat next, Barb.
Yes, thank you very much, Pete. So yes, so we're going to move on to implementing chatbots and the questions around that. I'll also take this chance to raise a question that's just come in that I think fits very well into this piece, Patrick, that you're answering, which is, can you try the chatbot as an internal tool first, as an internal knowledge database? So I'm sure you'll want to cover that as part of this.
Yeah, so that's a great question. We have a lot of our customers start their journey with the chatbot by using it internally. In fact, that's part of the training process that we use. Is we normally do 3 rounds of internal training on the bot. But with the Enghouse system, we can use the bot to co-pilot or offer suggestions to the agents. I apologize, a moment ago it wasn't working. That's because I had it connected to the wrong knowledge base internally. But what you can do, and this question is really a good lead to this, is that you can point the Enghouse agents so that they get the suggestions or the co-piloting happening without even having to have the customer come through the bot. If you don't want to, we can set that up. But yes, where you start your journey, if it's internal, that's great. You can do that. So let me just talk a little bit about considerations for implementation. So first of all, define what is success. Some of our customers, success means improving the customer experience, giving them 24/7 access, giving them access to information that a bot can do things like expandable answers, inserted videos, all the richness that a bot can give. Success to some customers, that's what it is. Others, it's cost savings. How can we reduce the number of say not the number, but maybe the cost of the agents. Others, the success might be, how can we use our agents to build relationships and let the bot do the simple things. So there's a combination of all those, but what we normally try and do is define what does success look like for you. Then we start small and build. You don't have to build everything to start with. You could even, like the question asked, start internally only, and then when you're confident, move it out to your customers, external facing. Getting the right resource for your project is important. Normally, what we find is that you probably already have a couple of really smart cookies in your contact center, people that you might not be able to hold on into your organization because they want to do bigger and better things, but give them a virtual agent project to work with. Some of the smart cookies in the contact center are really the right people to start with sometimes, because they know the content, they know what the bot should be doing, the tone of the bot, and they can help build it, test it. And the next one is that the inquiries that come in, regardless of the channel, we can use the same knowledge source. So you can build the bot once, but you can use it in multiple channels, whether it be Facebook Messenger, whether it be your website, whether it be inside your mobile app. There are a lot of customers using it in mobile apps. You can put it into social media, all those different places that you can put it. We find that the intents are the same. So build the bot once, but we can optimize the answers we give based on the channel that the user's coming in from. And then I mentioned this a bit earlier, test and train. Before you go live, we'll do normally 3 rounds of internal testing. So when we first build the bot, sometimes they're a little bit dumb, but our bots, through some internal training, we normally do 3 rounds of internal training, and you can improve that really quickly and you get your internal people just to use it a bit, ask it questions, and it learns from that so that it's ready for your customers. And then achieve channel shift. So what means by that is, and Pete mentioned this before, is if you put it on your website, you put it in social media, wherever you put it, it can start answering questions in that channel. But a lot of our customers will advertise it like in the contact center. If you call in, it'll say the bot is available on the website. Some of our customers, like Myer, I think most Australian on this call will know Maya, or customers like Coles, they use our bots. And if you call them on the telephone, they'll encourage channel shift. In fact, they'll send you an SMS with a link to the bot, so you can complete your transaction without having to speak to a person. You just go straight to your mobile phone and you can complete it there. And then finally, integration, not second, but final is integrations. Think about in the future what you want to integrate it to. Do you want to integrate it to your calendaring system, to your CRM system? So many different companies with Maya, we connect to the Maya One card, or to your gift card. We can tell you how much you have left on a gift card. It's all through API integrations, very easy for us to do. And a lot of people forget this, but there's a wealth of reporting. If you can see the conversations that people are having with your bot on your website, you get a really good insight to what type of challenges those customers have. More than just a star rating, you get to see what they're asking, and that really is gold to mine. So that's how you might want to consider when you're building a chatbot. But yeah, back to you, Barb.
Thanks, Pat. Okay, so now we're moving on to our next poll question for the audience. Again, just the Enghouse and partners, please hold back. And we want to find out where you're at with this, so that everyone can see where other attendees on the call are, compared to themselves. So the first options is, are we actually on the road for this? It's all planned and we're going to be doing it. It's the first option. And then the other ones are about, we really want to do this, but we're meeting some obstacles. So what are these obstacles? And Patrick provided this data because these are the experiences that he's seen with people on the journey towards automation. So the poll's open, and if you could put your vote in, that would be really good. Thank you. So we'll continue collecting while people vote.
It's interesting, Barb, just to understand why businesses are finding it challenging to introduce web chat or chatbot, what it is that they feel that they why they might not do it, because we see definitely customers are increasingly driving this requirement. That's okay. That's very interesting. So it's a breakdown there between one of the most common, certainly for the bot side. I can talk about my last peek maybe to respond with a web chat, but regarding the bot, building the ROI, I get a lot of my customers asking me to help. How do I understand the costs and the ROI so I can put a business plan together for it? And I can see 22% of people asking that. General resources, that's quite low at 11%. That's good to see. The interesting one here is tech resources. This is, and I specifically asked Barb to call that one out, because tech resources are the major reason that we get for most of our prospects and customers saying we just can't deploy the bot at the moment. The interesting thing is that we can do nearly all of the work with the bot without needing any of your tech resources. So we probably need your tech team to give us a little tick of approval to say, yep, that this is something that they endorse, and they'll want to know a little bit of information about it. And the second bit where we might need the tech team is to deploy little snippets onto your website. But it's just a very little snippet, very easy to do. And that's about it. That's all we need from your tech team. And yet across the board, tech resources are holding us up, are the main objection I see. But it really, there's very little tech resources we need when we deploy a bot. We need knowledge, we need access to knowledge, and we need access to information and approvals of what information to use. but tech resources, we don't really need that much. Pete, do you have anything to say about that?
Yeah, I think there was a period pre-COVID where the tech resources weren't so much of a problem to squeeze sort of these sorts of projects into sort of the IT sort of rolling responsibilities that are there. And I think possibly in the last couple of years that they sort of since COVID, the working from home, there's been a lot of business protection going on projects within the IT teams that are there. So when I've spoken to people about sort of deploying either bots or web chats, it's really common to both. It's the business is trying to protect themselves against those world events that we're coming across these days. And I think there's a little bit of people did get a little bit caught short by COVID, and there are a lot of tech things that are progressing within that industry that or side of the business that are coming before doing these customer service expectations at the moment. So I think some of that response may be just a sign of the times, but I think that will fall off as businesses feel that they, have got everything in place should anything like that ever happen again. And there's all of the move to the cloud technologies and those sorts of things happening for businesses as well. So it's quite a busy time for those IT guys. So I think they're a little bit more short on resource than what they would have been 5 years ago.
It's interesting that you talk about COVID. In fact, we had more customers bring on the bot during that period of COVID than we had before. We still see now that the interest is still there, but COVID for us was an acceleration of the bot. And I think what a lot of businesses did, customers like Coles, Myer, P&O, they saw that with COVID, they weren't able to, the humans, that the agents weren't able to support the mass volumes of requests coming in. And the bot played a really important part in helping that. We had one customer that saw 20,000 conversations hit them in one day. It was to do with a government announcement here in Australia around financial services and superannuation. And from 9 o'clock in the morning, the bot did on that one day 20,000 conversations. There's no way a human would be able to manage that. And so in fact, you talk about the limits of tech resources. We were able to deploy the bots for customers like Coles and Myer with very little, if any, of their tech resource. The only thing we needed them to do was to deploy a small little bit of JavaScript, a snippet onto the website. They normally do that through their Google Tag Manager, and the bot was there and ready to go. And because for your customers, Pete, we already have the integration with the Enghouse. We can, even if the bot's not able to answer the question, we can direct the user back down to the agent, and the agent can then take over the chat. But over time, the bot will learn and it can grow to take on a lot of those questions. So I come back, I see that tech resources is one of those anomalies where people think that putting in a chatbot is going to take a lot of tech resource, but it really doesn't. It's not a lot of tech resource, but it does need somebody from the contact center to help us with understanding what content to use.
And I wholly agree with you, Pat. And I actually think that the sort of two popular sort of the cost and ROI not being formed properly means that you can't push it to the tech people and get it to the top of their priority list because they don't see the benefit. And it's not necessarily once you engage those tech resources, I think it very much simplifies, as you're saying, and there's a large benefit. But I think the justification piece to get it to the top of their pile may be the key there.
Yeah.
Well,
exactly.
thank you. Thank you, Pete and Patrick. I think that that other is very interesting, and if people, we will be offering an exit survey at the end of the webinar. So if you can complete that, and if you have any notes to add to enlarge on the other reasons, that would be really interesting as well. And this takes us to the next slide, which is talking about our next roadmap webinar that we have planned for the new year, which is actually going to be a deep dive into this. And that's another reason why we'd be very interested to hearing about those other challenges that people are meeting. So Patrick, did you want to talk through this potential webinar, please?
Yeah, thanks, Barb. So the next webinar we want to do is to do a deep dive into how a bot, how we can create a bot. It's more like going to be perhaps a bit more like a workshop. First of all, talking about success. What type of metrics and success that we can expect to get from a bot. We're going to talk a little bit about the costs as well. Really talking about those two, the success, the cost savings, and the costs of the bot to help put together a business case, because that's where a lot of people, businesses sort of say, well, that's the first thing I need to do. Then we'll talk a little bit about the general resourcing. How would you go about resourcing internally within the business to build the bot? Now, we'll be there to maintain it, to help you build the initial bot, but a lot of our customers want to resource it and do it themselves. And we just want to talk a little bit about that and the type of resources that you might need to maintain and build your bot. Talk a little bit about the technical resources. I've already spoken about that a bit on this, so I won't go into too much more, but I think you know my feeling that the technical resources are not something that we really need too much of. And then we talk about the user experience. What do you want to create with the bot? And we didn't get much time today to talk about that, but it really is a differentiator. How do you want to project your brand values? What can we do with the bot more than just chat? And I've sort of showcased some of the things that we're doing with more than just chat, embedding things like videos into it, because a lot of people consume information differently, and visual through video works very well, and looking at those different sort of user experiences that we can create. And then lastly, one of the big questions we get is about security, sovereignty, and understanding more about that. So looking at how we can make sure that we keep all the information inside the boundaries of Australia and New Zealand. We also have platforms in Singapore, or we could do it on premise. We could, if you've got a CC on premise, contact center on premise, we can put the bot on premise as well. But just talking about those types of options and the overarching security and sovereignty. So yeah, we hope to help you build a bot.
Yes, and we will be certainly sending out invitation for that ongoing. So before we move into questions, well, we are moving into questions now, and there is one that's at the top of the list that I wanted to bring to your attention, Patrick, is that, and this could be one of the other challenges people are talking about, which is why have bots got a bad rap?
I think that there's a lot of bots out there that pretend to be conversational bots, but really what they are you'll see a lot of bots that have they just direct you through a menu, which they have their use. I'm not saying they don't, but they're not conversational bots. They don't generate an experience with your customers. They don't resolve issues. They just direct you to the right agent and the right queue. I think that we've been around doing this for 20 years, and I'd love to say all of our bots are fantastic, but they're not. Some of them aren't the best, but we do have a very large proportion that are really good bots. And so I think there's a bad rap out there because there's a lot of technologies out there that don't really have good bot solutions. And I think that that's the next workshop. The next thing, talk about some of the key characteristics for businesses to think about when they create their bot to make sure that user experience is going to be a good one. And yeah, that's if you've got the right technology and the right people, absolutely you can make a good experience.
And it's
And I
also
think
that get out of jail, isn't it?
Absolutely, it's connecting it to your contact center, because a bot's not going to be able to answer every question. There's going to be hardship questions. There's going to be people that maybe have lost their job or don't have the funds to make something, and to bring that back to a human, connect it to your contact center. That's really, really important. Again, people get bad experiences with bots because bots can't be empathetic. They can't, but humans can. So bringing the two together is really important.
Thank you. Pete, did you have something to add to that? We're just on the
I was
hour.
just going to be coining Pat's phrase, just to say, you know, the biggest frustration that we've seen, I think, industry studies is being in AI prison, as Pat said, when the bot runs out of the answers, can't help the inquiry, and there's nowhere for that user to go. They then get frustrated having to maybe change the channel, re-explaining everything. Those sorts of things make them not want to try the bot again. If the bot can't help and they can get handed through to the agent, that gives a much better user experience. It's more seamless rather than the frustrating, I've asked all the questions to the bot, I've reworded it a number of times, it's not trained to help me with my inquiry. Now I've got to change and say all that again to a human. It gets a bit frustrating, and I think taking that frustration away is what's improved bots and their reputation in more recent years.
Okay, thank you very much. We have run out of time. There are a few more questions that we haven't had time to get to, but we will certainly take those offline and come back to you. Thank you very much, everybody, for your time today. Thank you, Patrick and Pete, especially for your contributions today, and we will look forward to seeing you on our next webinar. And if you could stay on the line and complete the exit survey, that would be amazing. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. Thank you for your time.
And please get in touch with us if you have any questions. Thank you.